Hi, thanks for joining us for another edition of Ask Spurrell CPA. Today we're talking about how business degrees don't teach small business skills. I'm here with Laura. Laura, how was your weekend this weekend?
Pretty good.
Anything interesting happen?
A lot of studying.
A lot of studying. Okay, so Laura's doing that business degree that I'm about to rag on here, so that's a little bit interesting. But the quote that I have is Michael Gerber, author of our favorite E-Myth. And in it, he says, people who are exceptionally good in business aren't so because of what they know, but because of their insatiable need to know more. The statistic that we're always, trying to improve is 50% of all Canadian small businesses go out of business within 5 years. They really go out of business for 3 reasons. They can't find customers, they run out of cash, and they can't build the right team. And the story that we see that repeats are, business owners, they think these failure rates aren't going to apply to them because they had a 4-year business degree. So they think that just because they had that, they're not going to be one of those 50%. But all too often, we see that, those business degrees don't make that much of an impact on that failure rate. So Laura, what do you think are the questions that these business owners and they have a business degree should be asking?
Do business degrees prepare you to run a business or work for a business?
So I would, take the position that business degree they're useful in terms of they're trying to teach you how to work in a business. They're assuming you're going to work for someone else, and they want you to know a lot. They want you to know, I guess, a little about a lot is the best way to, they want you to know a little bit about accounting and a little bit about marketing and a little bit about HR, but they don't really expect you to run it all the way through. They don't say, here's how you post the ad, this is what you do when you come in the interview, this is how you check the referral, this is how you put out the contract. They teach you high-level theory about it, and that's how the same way they do it with the marketing and other functions of the business. So they teach you a little about a lot with the expectations that there's going to be other people in that business that you start to work for that know how to do it from beginning to end.
How important is your daily schedule, and do they teach scheduling in school?
Yeah, so I don't know about what you've seen, Laura, but I didn't get taught anything about a schedule. Did they ever show you a schedule of an accountant of what they do at 8 in the morning, what they do at 9 in the morning? And this is the same. It's not just, you go to business school to be an accountant. I bet you, there's a bunch of plumbers and electricians and general contractors out there, and they never once put in front of you what people do who are effective in your industry at each hour of the day. But generally, if I'm looking at a business owner's calendar, I can normally tell if they're going to be successful or not. If I look at what they have planned to do each and every day coming up, that's a good predicator of if they're going to be successful or not. And they just don't teach it they don't just teach it in not business school, but they don't teach it in other technical schools either. And I think it's one of probably the most important thing on determining your success is what your calendar looks like and what your plans for that calendar, and they simply don't teach you how to organize it.
Who has a more regimented schedule, students or successful entrepreneurs?
So here is a big one, especially for the people who come straight out of school and they start a business. And there can be the culture shock of what that schedule needs to look like. You're in school and you're taking one class at 11, and then you're taking another class at 1 on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Maybe you have one at 9 and one at 2 and one at 4, and you have these breaks throughout the day, and you got some time off. And some days you can start later than others. Well, I got the news flashes that as soon as you go to, even when most students go to the regular work world, and it's a grind from 8 a.m. to 5. Now we're starting to look at entrepreneurs, and some of these guys are putting in 50, 60, 70 hours a week, and they're diligent about what time they start and what time they finish, and that can be a huge culture shock. And it's not that they can't do it, it's just that they haven't had to do it yet, right? So sometimes starting that skill from scratch right out of school can be very, very difficult. It's like anything else. If you haven't practiced it, your chances of success are just smaller.
Do most customers care more about your degree or the value you can bring them?
Yeah, here's the other one too, is some people think that, hey, I have a business degree and I'm going to put those letters after my name and customers are just going to sign with me. Guess what? Customers don't care. They for the most part, they don't care about the letters. They care about the value and the reputation and the the differentiation factors of the business. There might be some professional businesses where people you need that in order to achieve that designation. Or that credentials, but after that, it's more of a pass or fail type thing. You have it or you don't. They're not going to value you as much as what you think in your business career, just because you have a business degree. After a while, it starts to not matter as much to the customer. It's what you've learned at it that is important, but the customer is not going to give you a contract or a sale just because you have a degree.
What are the 3 reasons businesses fail?
Yeah, so the 3 reasons is they can't get enough customers, number one, and this is in order too. Can't get enough customers, number one. Number 2 is they run out of cash. Number 3 is they can't find the right team.
Does the real world value long form written content like school?
No, the real world hates long form written content. Most people won't even read a book ever. But you want a good mark in school, you got to write a nice long paper, and it's got to be 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 pages or whatever the professor wants. And well, guess what? Most of the times when you hand a customer a 10-page written paper with no pictures or words, or they're going to throw that thing out. Like, the real world does not value long form written content like the academic world values it. So being good at long form written content, just because you can make that argument or prove your point or make an analysis in long form written content, the in the real world, it's the people who can prove that point and make that argument in a concise manner is normally more valuable. With the pictures or less words, it is more important.
Are business schools keeping current on new age marketing tactics?
No, they're not. I mean, I have I've met some people recently on marketing objectives, and I felt even when I went to business school was the marketing super practical and super up to date years and years ago. When I went to school, I didn't feel it, but I thought with all these changes in marketing initiatives and the advent of digital marketing initiatives, how up to date are the business schools? They're not up to date. It's difficult enough for the average marketing firm. I would think most of the marketing firms out there are doing it poorly. So how can we expect the academic world to be on top of it even more so than the practitioners who are in it every day, who are struggling to keep up?
Do you get any sales training in business school?
0. Absolutely not. You get like 0 sales training. Maybe like they're going to do 1 day or something like that. But a lot of people go all through business school and they've never prepared a proposal to a client, handed that proposal across the table, asked for a signature, and tried to collect payment on it, and deal with any objections that they have. They have 0 experience in this, so they have great ideas and great knowledge and great know-how, but they can't get a single customer to sign on the dotted line saying that they want this, and no one has given them a single skill or tool in their tool belt that they can use to try to sell a client. And if there's any curriculum writers out there, shame on you guys. You guys need to put stuff in there. There needs to be sales training for people getting business degrees, because the number one reason that businesses fail is they can't get enough customers. And even if they have an effective marketing plan, what happens when the phone rings? People don't know how to carry that through right to contract.
Do you get any practice writing templates and checklists in business school?
0 to, checklists and templates. And that's what businesses are. We have to get an effective marketing campaign out there. We have to know how to sell that client when they come through. And then on a small business, you have to write the checklists and the templates. What are the checklists that you're going to do to make sure that the job or the scope of work gets done correctly, and what are the templates that you're going to use that you can give to the rest of the team members, that you can operate at a consistent level and save time by not having to do the same thing over and over again. Checklists and templates are one of the biggest things. When people buy a business, they want to see, hey, what's that operations manual look like? What are the checklists and templates that we're going to follow? But you go to business and they talk very theoretically about what happens in a business, but the value of a business is often what's in those checklists and templates. And you don't get any or certainly enough practice writing them in school.
Is it harder to get business financing than most business students think?
Yeah. So, and you'll deal with a lot of business problems, and they'll think, oh, we're going to raise capital this way, or we're going to get a loan that way. And they make it sound in school like that's a foregone conclusion. But usually the answer, when you go out in the real world and ask for someone to invest in your company, or, go to a bank and ask for a loan, that answer is no. People they're just not going to hand that over. You read all these textbooks and how do you handle this financing or that financing? But in the real world, you can't get the financing that you need to execute your business plan. So often you have to adjust your business plan and scale it down and bootstrap the business in a certain way. And, some of the initiatives you might want to do have to be initiatives that you do in the future, and you have to work towards them. So, getting the financing, whether it's capital investments or loans in the real world, is significantly harder than they make it sound in business school. And so they need to do a better job probably on, how to adjust a business plan and make a business plan that can be bootstrapped in, at least partially.
How is building and developing a team more of a numbers game?
Yeah, so here they do talk a lot in business school about culture and team, and that gets brought up a lot. But they don't really tell you how to execute it. They don't really drive home the point that, you want to make a good hire, but how many people do you have to meet before you can make a good hire? You have to meet often 100 people to make one good hire. And they make it sound like you can just do your interview better and ask better questions in that interview. Well, if that person's a bad candidate, it doesn't matter what questions you ask them. They're still a bad candidate. You just need to see more candidates. And then once you have them on the team and you have this idea for, what's our corporate culture, people think that I can just write a problem, vision, mission, and values, and somehow everyone's going to read it once and get it. It's like, no, you need to communicate it all the time to the team. How effectively you build that corporate culture and the training of the team, revolves directly on how often you meet as a team often. And you see a lot of businesses and they're like, we're going to have a monthly staff meeting. And that monthly staff meeting normally gets postponed or delayed or canceled some months. And I got a newsflash. If you really want a corporate culture, again, you can look in your calendar and determine if you have a shot at it or not, because if you have a monthly staff meeting, best case scenario is you can maintain an existing culture. But if you want to improve it, meet every single week. Meet every single week. You're meeting 48, 52 times a year, depending on when the holidays work out, and see 100 candidates for every time you bring on one. Those are the numbers that we're talking about. So, people think of, culture and values and it's woo-woo and it's some sort of motivational. And a part of it is, but the other part of it is you just have to have enough numbers for that to work. You have to see enough candidates. You have to have enough training sessions with your team. And that is, black and white. Doesn't matter what the intended culture is. If you don't have enough at-bats, it's not going to work out. So I think that's what we have here for today. Thanks so much for joining in again. Please hit that like and subscribe button so we can continue to deliver you tips on how to beat the odds at business. And as always, please leave any comments below and we'll do our best to address them in future videos. Thanks very much.